Pastor Roy Gearhart from Galloway United Methodist Church in Franklin, Pennsylvania, sharing a few words of encouragement to help us follow after Jesus. This week we're looking at the way the Israelites arrived right there at the entrance to the Promised Land and then turned back. They rejected God's direction to go in and to receive His promise, to take hold of it. They thought it was going to be too difficult. In fact, they thought it was impossible. And so they turned back. In their hearts, in their minds, and with their mouths, they declared, "We're going to go back to Egypt." This was something that they had carried with them all along. They always had Egypt in their hearts. It was their plan B. If they didn't like where they arrived with God, they were always thinking, we can always go back to Egypt. Do you live with an Egypt in your life? Do you have a backup plan, a plan B, that you're always thinking, well, if this doesn't work out, I can always go do that. I can take care of myself that way. Maybe you even try to convince God that that would be a better option. Let me tell you, this week I have been reflecting back over my life and remembering the way in which God has had to work Egypt out of me. You see, whenever I was a kid, I had a dream and a vision growing up that I was going to take over the family business. My dad was a contractor, and I expected fully to take that over. I loved being a carpenter, and I still love working with wood. But I thought this is what I was going to do with my life. Well, then God called me to preach. I was still just a kid, but this set a passion in me to preach the gospel. I love to see people come to Christ, see their lives changed, see this deliverance from sin take over in their lives. Man, I had a passion as throughout my teen years that I wanted to preach as an evangelist and travel all around and just preach the gospel and see people's lives changed. Well, I thought those two things could work together just fine. I had it all worked out in my head that I could run my own business, but then I could, on the weekends, and I could get out there and preach, or I could lay down my hammer at the end of the day and go do that. I'm sure that looking back, it would have never worked out nearly as well as I thought it would. But this kept Egypt always in my heart then, when God began to call me in a whole new direction. Whenever I was in high school, I had these dreams running through my mind. And then whenever I was getting along in high school, started dating my wife, man, I thought, hey, I'm done with that search. I've got the full package now. A wife, a career vision, serving the Lord, everything is great. I began to picture where we were going to build a house. Everything was coming together. And then God began to really work in my heart in a powerful way that was making me aware of His leading to go into ordained ministry in the church. Well, heavens, that meant that I would have to go to college, to seminary, and I would have to give up this dream of running my own business and preaching as an evangelist. And I can remember the morning that after wrestling with God for months over this, that I went out to that site where I was looking at building a house. A sunny Sunday morning, I said, okay, God, I'll do it. I'll do what you want. I knew I couldn't win that wrestling match, and so I was conceding. But let me tell you something. In my heart, I was not fully given to God. I continued to have Egypt in my heart. When God had me pastoring churches, I was bickering and fighting with God all the way through the educational process, even leading there. I was saying, God, I don't really want to be here, and you know it. And I would argue with God, saying, I want to be preaching as an evangelist. I don't want to serve as a pastor. And then in the back of my mind, I always had Egypt, because I was always dreaming up some way that I could go out and make a living working with my hands instead of preaching and following after God. This Egypt was always undermining. In hard times, I thought it was my plan B, the out from all these challenges. But in fact, what it was a thing that was undermining my soul to be able to rely fully on God and to gain His strength. It was a thing that was always keeping me looking over my shoulder and thinking that there might just be some alternative, and maybe I could even convince God of that. If you're living with an Egypt, let me tell you, you don't have a plan B that is a better option. What you have is a plan B that is undermining your ability to believe God and to follow Him in faith. Your ability to rely on God and see His Holy Spirit leading you dramatically, dynamically transforming your life. I tell you that The only thing that is right in this is the way in which God brought me to a place of surrender, where he finally broke that down and forced me to leave Egypt further and further behind until the plan B goes away and there's only plan A, and that is to surrender your life to him and follow Jesus. May God bless you today, and as you share this good news, may God make you a blessing wherever he takes you.